nitty-gritty of who you are, Sharif, and what
Yes.
you do. But you could take 30 seconds to face tell us who are you and go straight to our discussion today as members keep joining and we will be able to update them. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Jomo. Thank you guys for having me. Sustainable Africa. It's a really pleasure to be here with everybody. And like you said, Jomo, the summary you have of me have said it all. So we're not going to push so much. We're going to make it about everybody else that's joining today. But I'm the director at 𝐇𝐎𝐏 Consulting. And at 𝐇𝐎𝐏 Consulting, we work with small businesses. Well, we work with development organizations that work with small businesses or any maybe large organization like your banks or so that work, government agencies that work with small businesses. So we do a lot of research work, we do a lot of training and mentoring, and then we do funding for small businesses. We have our annual funding at the end of the year. So that's in a nutshell. I've been doing that for 8 years now, and it's been a journey. So it's great to be here with all of you, and I hope to learn a lot from you guys today too. So let's get started. While people are joining, I'll go ahead and update my screen. So 1 minute here, and if you have any questions, if you feel like you want to stop, you can either put it in the chat or you can raise your hand, and then if I see it, because sometimes if I'm looking I can see, but if not, then I'll see it, then you can ask questions later. Okay, so I'll go ahead and share my screen. One moment. Okay, so hopefully you guys can all see my screen. One moment here.
I can see your
Oh,
screen.
all right.
I can see the screen.
Okay. So again, good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me in Sustainable Africa. I think you guys are doing a great work with entrepreneurship. So for what we do at 𝐇𝐎𝐏 Consulting, it's great to be here and share with you guys. My name is Elfrida Sharif again from 𝐇𝐎𝐏 Consulting. So what are we? We have an hour, right, Jomo? We
Yeah,
have.
sure. We have
Okay.
an hour.
Okay.
Yes.
One moment. Oh.
Elfrida, do we lose you? Are you here with us?
Can you guys still see my screen? I'm sorry, I was mistakenly on mute.
No, we cannot see now your screen. It disappeared.
Let me do it again. Sorry. All right. So what are we? Just some of the things that we're going to be looking at, and I think Jomo, the Sustainable Africa team, made it clear what we're going to be talking about. So our objectives are just going to be, learning about business strategy. What exactly is it? Is it maybe only for large organizations? Can small organizations or small businesses, or even you as a maybe just entrepreneur, you're just thinking about your idea and you have this very small business. How can you get into the whole strategy thing? And then we're going to talk about the parts of a smart goal, because in setting strategy you have to make sure you're setting the right goal, right? Because if you set the wrong goal, then every strategy that you create is going to be accomplishing the wrong thing, right? We're going to list the tools to help you create a strategy. We're going to learn how to develop a competitive edge, and then you just developing, we want to learn different ways to develop a solid business strategy. What are the things that you have to think about, or you have to do, or you have to know for you to have a good business strategy? And this is just our different content that we're going to go through. We're going to do introduction to strategy management, strategy management, your competitive edge, crafting a solid business plan, and then we're just going to review what we talk about. And these are just the basic rule. I think I said, if you have a question, if you put your hand up, if I see it, depending on my screen, you can unmute yourself and ask. That way, everybody else who's listening, they're not interrupted. And then we're going to have just different participation, right? Because again, I want to learn from you why I come, to be the speaker. But every time I've had these type of meetings with small businesses, they come and they just bring on these great, addition to what we already know. So we want participation and we want you to share your experiences. Okay. Okay, and then we're probably just going to get some volunteers here and there to help me since I'm here, but we're all here together, so we're all going to learn. So sometimes I'm going to pick out or name, or you can volunteer and say, okay, if I ask, can somebody read this slide for me? Someone can say, okay, yeah, I can do it. But let's talk about strategy before it started. And Michael Porter, the owner of this quote, he's one of the leaders in business strategy. So he says strategy is about making choices, trade-offs. So trade-offs are going to be you taking one thing and giving up something else, right? You can't do every single thing. If you take A, that means you're giving up B. If you take B, you're giving up C. So it's trade-offs. You're giving things and you're taking things. It's about deliberately choosing to be different, right? And a lot of us, if I go around the room, if we had time and ask what we do, most of what we do is going to be something that other businesses are already doing. If not even right in your area, it's going to be not far from you, or it's going to, on the internet, everybody's close, right? So there's going to be a lot of people doing already what you're doing. So how do you deliberately choose to be different? That's what strategy is about. Okay, in your competitive landscape, that's what strategy is about, choosing to be different. So you need to remember this. Strategy is about what are those things that I'm going to do that are going to stand out, that is going to make either me or my business stand out. What do I do? Okay, so intro to strategy, business strategy. So can I get a volunteer, Jomo, or anyone to help us with this slide, to read this slide?
Oh, thank you. Let me go first so
Okay.
that we. Introduction to business strategy means by which a company sets out to achieve its goals and desired objectives. It is about planning and making choices. Importance: without a strategy, entrepreneurs have no roadmap to guide them. Helps give the whole picture on a paper. A good business strategy plan guides the company onto a successful path. Every business should have a strategy. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Jomo. Thank you. So yeah, every business should have a strategy. Even generally in life, we should have a strategy, right? Generally, like if you have it like, okay, I want to, even if you're married, you have children, you have a spouse, or you're going to school. If you're going to school, your strategy should be to graduate. What classes should I take? What is my end goal? What I want to do? So that's the same how every business should have a strategy, right? It's just something that's going to guide the company and say, okay, this is what we want to do. There's a quote that said, well, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? If you don't know where you're going, anywhere will take you there. And that's part of strategy, knowing how, having a strategy. Okay, this is what I want to accomplish. This is how I'm going to get there. It's just to guide you. Okay. And the strategy, what should it take into account? And this is very important because I said before that it's deliberately choosing to be different, right? So how do you deliberately choose to be different? What are those things that you have to focus on? These are the things that that your strategy must take into account. Your customers. Who are your customers, right? What type of relationship do you have with them? Especially if you're a small business or you're an entrepreneur, right? And you're not like a large organizations might struggle to have like a relationship with their customers. But if as a small business, because your customers might be a little bit smaller, you have an opportunity to learn about them, build a relationship with them. Can anyone unmute and tell us what business they do? And you can just unmute yourself and just tell us about your business. What do you do?
Members, you can. It is a discussion.
Yes.
We are not being lectured. It is a discussion. We can discuss. So kindly, or any business that you intend to do.
Yes, anyone that you intend to do. What are your ideas? What are you working on?
Yeah. So let's make this interactive. So I will say later after others have said.
Um, Hello, good day.
Good day.
Yeah, my name is Endurance from Nigeria, Lagos precisely.
Uh,
Um, I'm into real estate. I just joined real estate company like 3 months ago. But before
okay.
then, I was into environmental services. I run
Okay.
cleaning companies, yeah, into Versace and other high-rise buildings. But right now, I'm doing both, but I had to switch to real estate now. But the major concern is just the way you highlighted some few points concerning strategy, your set goals, and what you intend to achieve as an entrepreneur, and those things that you look forward to, either in business or in marriage or in school, anything. So that's what I really want to key into and see how best I can relate with customers and how I can actually push the business forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Endurance. That's very good point. So for real estate, you're selling, people are making like huge investment, right? So you want to know why are they doing it? Okay, so are they getting a home that they want to move in? Okay, if they're moving in, do they have family that they're moving in with? So all those things you have to look at. Okay, what am I focusing? Am I focusing on just maybe homes for family? Am I focusing on investment properties and all of that? So because those different type of customers, they're going to have different needs, right? And we see on the next line, we have products or services, right? You have to consider your product or services. What are they? Are they unique? Should you add? Should you take away product? Then you tie that back into your customer. Who are my customer and what are my products? How does my customer and my product fit? Right? So if I have a customer that's looking for an investment property and I have a customer that's looking for a home to move in with their family, their needs are going to be somewhat different. Because while the investment property, he might be looking for returns in, say, 5 years, get returns, or maybe something longer term. The home is just the family looking for a home to move in. They're thinking about their children, right? They're thinking about their commute to work. How close to work is it, or how far is it from the city? They're thinking about their children's school. So those two are going to be thinking about almost different things. Yeah, do they both want returns? Yes, they do, but they might want returns in different areas. So you have to take into your account your customers. You have to take into account your products or the services that you offer. So when you're selling to endurance, for example, to your investment property guy, you're going to sell differently. Your strategy of targeting those customers are going to be different than your strategy of targeting home customers. And then you want to take into account also your financial performance, your operations, and your external environment. So what do you mean by your financial performance? What is your revenue? Should you cut expensive? And that's the thing. If you don't take into account your customers and your products or services, then you wouldn't know how to cut expenses, right? Because if you're looking at, oh, okay, I'm spending too much on marketing for my investment property people, but I'm not getting any, but then you're only getting customers from the home side, then you start thinking, right? How do I review this strategy? Does this work better? Does that work better? What are my operation? What processes am I using to attract these customers? And then you want to look at your external environment. And in business strategy, your competitors is a huge part of developing a solid business strategy. And we're going to get to the part where we talk about your competitive edge. But your external environment, what industry are you operating in? What's happening in the industry? So these are essential elements of a business strategy. Your customers, the products or service that you offer, your financial performance, your operations, and then your external environment. Any questions before we go on? Okay, no questions. Then we'll move on to strategic management. And strategic management is just applying strategic thinking to the job of leading your of running your business, right? It's just, I feel like it's taking time to sit down and go and think about everything that we talked about on the previous page. Your customers. What is my financial performance? What does it look like? What's happening in my industry? Right? How do I consider that? Because you're part of an industry, right? If even you're in the real estate, but you're part of a bigger industry. So there are other real estates out there. You're part of the construction industry too, because those are going to be the ones building the property, and whatever is affecting that construction industry or real estate industry, you have to be able to think about that. And it's all about where do you want to be and how are you going to get there. Anybody have a question? I hear somebody unmute themselves.
Uh, Thank you so much. Perhaps I can go first. And you've talked about on the first slide, you've talked about finding your niche in the market. How, rather, what are the simplest procedure to follow to actually identify where exactly you belong or the market in which you're operating? Thank you.
The best way to find your niche or how to do your marketing?
Okay, of course, to find your niche, for example, you want to do maybe you're selling scalable products.
Mhm.
How do you identify that market, and how do you feel or think that you fit in this market and not a larger one?
Okay. So you will
Yeah.
assess your strength, right? You assess your strength and your weaknesses. You see what do you have, right? What will allow you to compete effectively in that market. So your strength could be something as simple as maybe you have experience in the market. That could be a strength. Whereas someone who's starting out or new, they don't have, for example, I told you that I have 8 years experience of working for my company. That's a strength, right? Because based on that 8 years experience, I've learned a lot of things in addition to going to school, right? So that's a strength. So you assess, what do I have? What are my strengths? What are those things that I'm good at? What are those things that I already have? Another strength of yours could be that you have the money to spend, right? And that could also be a weakness also. But then if you look in that industry and you see that sometimes it might just take tenacity, right? In that industry, and that's something that you have, but you have to go in and research. You have to ask questions. You have to talk to maybe your competitors. You have to talk to the customers, right? See why they buying from from the competitors. See maybe your competitors, and even now with online, you can even go under your competitors' comment and you see people commenting. So if you see dissatisfied customers, they would say, "Oh, you did this, that." Then you start taking notes. These are the things customers don't like. These are the things they like, and then you start implementing that into your own strategy. But in creating your own product or services, you have to create your own value proposition that says, oh, okay, this is what I'm offering, this is what I'm bringing to the market. But of course, you have to do your research first about the market. Don't assume things about the market. Do not assume that, oh, okay, I see Mr. A over there and he's doing it and he's very successful, so I'm going to do it too. No, no.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
that helps.
That is clear. That's clear.
Okay, thank you. So go to the next. So strategic planning, what does it entails, right? So we want to know our vision. Where are we going? Right? Well, I say if you don't know where you're going, anywhere will take you there. You just be all over the place. Where are we going? Where are we now? Where are we right now? Right? Because if I need to go to point X and I'm at point A, then I know how to strategize. So my strategy from point A to point X is going to be different than my strategy from point, let's say, P to point X, right? Because P is going to be closer to X than A is going to be. So we want to know where we're going. We want to know where we are now. We want to know what do we need to get? What do I need to go from A to X? How am I going to do it? How do I get there? What are those things I'm going to do? And then you can have all the strategy, you can have all the planning, but if you don't have action, then it's useless. Action is an important part of strategy. You have to take action, right? You have to have an action plan. So again, you want to know your vision. Where are you going? You want to take note of where you are right now. We want to take note of what you would need to get to where you want to go, to the vision, the strategy you're going to take, the strategy you're going to use, and then the action you're going to take to get you. Everything is going to bring you back to the vision. So your goals are not going to be the same as your strategy. So don't write your goal to accomplish this, that, and say, oh, that's my strategy. That's not a strategy. That's a goal. Okay. Again, if there's any questions, just let me know. So here's the strategic planning cycle, right? Which we just looked at on the previous page. And I just put that in the cycle format. And we see that we start with where are we going? Our vision. And then why are we going there? Where are we now? How do we get to where we're going? What or who do we need to get there? How do we know we're there? So that's important, right? How do you know you are there? That's why it's good to set up where are we going. Because when you get to how do you know you're there, you want to be able to look at those key performance indicators and say, oh, okay, this is where we were, this is where we are now, right? So it can be, for example, you want to increase your followers on Instagram to 2,000, right? So that you said that's where I want to go, because you feel that if you increase your, or based on your research, you know that if you increase your followers to 2,000, you can possibly increase your sales by 10%. So how do you, where are you going? Increasing your Instagram followers to 2,000. I'm just throwing that idea out there. And then how do we know we're there? You're going to know you're there because you're at 2,000 and then you're at 2,000 followers and then your sales have increased by 10% because out of that 2,000 followers, you've been able to convert maybe 10% or 20% of those people to customers who have bought or can buy from you, right? So if you don't get there, then what do? You want to have all those things. You want to think about all of that. And then you don't give up when you don't get there, of course. You keep moving. You go back to the drawing board and say, okay, what do I do? How do we start again? Where do we miss along the strategy line? Okay. And this is just a summary of the same strategy cycle. Your SMART goals. We're going to talk about SMART goals shortly. Your why. Where do you want to go? That's your vision. And then how are you gonna get there? What do you need? What are the resources you need? So if you say, okay, my goal is to have 10 customers by the end of the year, 10 real estate, sold, or have 10 real estate investors by the end of the year. What do you need then? What do you have to do? Do you have to attend events with high net worth individuals? Do you have to run ads in the newspaper? Do you have to, increase your marketing on LinkedIn or on Facebook or Instagram? What do you have to do? Right? So those are the things that we're going to look at. You want to look at. And then your team, you want to be able to measure. Measuring is very good because that's how you're going to know if you're there. If you don't measure, you're not going to know. So if you want to get to 2,000 followers, or for example, or you want to add 10 real estate customers by the end of the year, then you have to know where you are now, right? You have to know where you are now. Say, okay, I have 10, I only have 5 real estate investors. So at least I know by the end of the year, I should have 15. If my strategy or my goal work, I should have 15. So always know where you are. And then SMART goals. How many people have heard about SMART goals here? How many? If you have, can you
No, I've ever
unmute?
heard.
Okay.
I've ever heard. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So SMART goals. You want your goals to be smart. You have?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. So SMART goals, for those who haven't and for those who already have, you have to be, usually when I work with youth entrepreneurs and they say, oh, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. And they have all these lofty ideas, right? but it's not attainable. Even though it might be attainable in the future, but right now, I always try to tell them right now. So the SMART goals is centered around your goal should be specific, right? And it should be measurable. I think we just talk about measuring your goals, right? So if I say I want to get to 2,000 by the end of the year, then I know that at the end of the year, I can measure 2,000 amount of followers. It should be attainable. Why it should stretch your abilities, you should still know that you can achieve it. It shouldn't be where you're like, okay, you're just starting out in politics today, and then you say, oh, next election, I will be president of Nigeria or any other country you're in, right? So it should be attainable. It should be relevant. It should matter to your business. And it shouldn't just be you want 2,000 followers on Instagram just because you want to say you do. You have it. Because sometimes you can have 500 followers and your business can be successful. So how relevant is it to your business? And then you should have a target date or deadline that you're working towards. And we'll look at an example of that shortly. So that's what a SMART, and it's SMART. So it has to be specific. You have to be able to measure it. You have to be able to attain it. And if you do an assessment of your own, where you are, of your own strengths and weaknesses, you'll be able to tell that what you can do and cannot do within your own confines. If you're very emotionally intelligent and what you're good at, what you're not good at, what you have and what you don't have, right? So that's what will make it attainable. And then you want to make it relevant by meeting this goal. Does it matter to your business? Does it matter to what you're trying to accomplish? Is it time bound? And again, the SMART goals, you can also use that on your personal life. It's not only for business or work. You can use that on your personal life. You can use that on yourself, like any maybe that you want to set. You're like, okay, I'm this place and I'm at A and I want to be at C. What do I do? How do I set it? This is what it is. This is their SMART goals. So it must be SMART. That's just specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Okay, so this activity, we're not going to do it. This is something that you can do. I think I'll talk about it briefly. You can do on your own time just because we're short of time. But usually when I do trainings we usually have a lot of activities that we do. But you can set your own, you can write a SMART goal for yourself or for your business, right? Specific, measurable, doable, relevant, and time bound. So don't just set a goal and then you say, oh, okay, whenever. If you don't add a time to it, you're more than likely not even going to think about it. I think what is this? Is it Alzheimer principles that say if you say it will take you 8 hours to do a task, it's going to take you 8 hours to do that task. Right? So whatever time you set, let it be again realistic and then let it stretch you, but don't make it just too unbelievable. Okay. Any questions on SMART goal? Any question, any addition? Anyone want to share their experience on SMART goals? Before we move on to a competitive edge, let me see how long we have. Okay.
I feel I know this is a very critical element, especially when it comes to SMART goals. And it is important, members, we talk about this. Because if we run away from understanding this concept of SMART goals, we may not as well find it very correct in the entire aspect of doing our strategies and business proposals. So members, be free. Let us talk. I had member, for example, and Diego said that he has SMART goals. You can go ahead and tell us briefly.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Ebenezer or Chris? Christian, you said you have smart goals. Kindly tell us how you've been able to achieve.
Okay. Okay. For me, for my case, I've just graduated, so I'm a graduate with a bachelor's degree in business administration. That's management. So I'm just like the presenter. The way she was trying to like the lecture she's trying to give us to us, it's like a revision to me because this is what I've been studying.
Okay.
So I'm just enjoying it. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's just doing a revision to me. So
Yeah.
I don't want
Oh,
to give a disservice to those people who are not in within the field of business. So I just why I want people who are not within the because for me at least I know a bit of it. Yeah. So
okay.
with smart goals, yeah. So she was saying that smart goals they are smart in nature. That
Mhm.
is, they are specific. You have to be specific when you are giving your goal.
Right.
For example, if you say you have a company and you say that our aim it is to increase on sales, so you have to make sure you must make that you must make a specific goal about sales, and you
Right.
say we aim at to increase sales by what percentage. You have to measure you have to state the percentage, and you say
Mm-hmm.
maybe we aim to increase sales by 10%. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe within 6 months. Okay. So it makes your goal that it is specific, that the specific bit of it in it is this the sales,
The sales,
and
right.
how will it be achieved? Yeah, the achievement a bit of it we aim to achieve 10% of the increase on sales. Okay. You see. So our target it is to have an increase of 10% on sales, but our specific it is the sales. So for me it's just a revision to me. So that's the only thing which I wanted to say.
Okay, very good. That's very good point. Thank you for adding that. I'm happy that you have an idea of it already. So it's like I'm preaching to the choir.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's good.
Actually, if there's a student here who is doing end semester exam and it's about business, I think we are giving the leakage. This is a total leakage. So go
Okay.
ahead, Elfrida.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. That was a very good addition. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. So let's talk about the competitive edge. Just now, I think I said before, like the industry or the environment that we operate in as businesses is very competitive, right? So you cannot say, even if you're the only person doing what you're doing now, you don't know what happened in 5 or 10 years. People start picking it. As soon as they see you successful in everybody like, that person is doing that. So I want to do it too. People can get carried away with things easily. So how do you compete? How do you stay? Because if you're not able to compete, it's going to be difficult to stay in business, because again people are going to be coming up every day, and your competition, if you're selling coffee for example, your competition is not only going to be other people selling coffee, it's going to be those people selling tea too. So it's a huge competition out there. So how do we do? So first thing, for our competitive edge, we have to know what our core competence is. It goes back to, what do you or your business do best? What do you do? What does your business do very well? What is that thing that your business does very well, right? Your core competence is going to be the advantages your business perform well over your competitors. And you're going to look at your people, your physical assets, your brand, capital, and everything that you have that makes you stand apart from your competitors. It also has to provide superior value to your customer, right? So your customer has to perceive that your core competence has to be translated into benefits to your customer, right? So you can't have this core competence and your customers are not benefiting from it. So when you're reviewing it, just take good look at that, right? And it should be difficult for a competitor to replicate or initiate. There's a quote that says, "You are you, and that's your superpower. Nobody else is like you." So you have to have something, especially being small business owner. You're almost, or an entrepreneur, if you're working by yourself, or even a co-founder. It's you. It's you that's running. So what are those characteristics
do you have that is going to make you stand apart in your market? So your core competence again are going to be your strength or those advantages that you have that you hold over your competitor. It's sometimes it can be as simple in Nigeria, for example, is that you're able to keep your employees. So you have, because there's a struggle sometimes to find good employees in Nigeria, right? So if you're a small business and you have 3 employees that have been working for you and they've been working for you for 5-10 years and they're committed to your business, but your competitor is always changing employees, then that's a core competence of yours. That's a core competence of yours. So it's good to recognize those things, because sometimes it might seem little to you, but it's not. Be able to assess your core competence and see, what do you have? What are you good at? What are those advantages that you have that can translate into value for your customer and that you hold over your competitor? And when you're doing your competitive analysis, you don't have to check every single competitor out there. Okay? Just the one within. And now we come to competitor analysis. So what you do in a competitive analysis, you identify effective strategies like marketing. You look at trends that others in your industry are using to grow. So if you're in the industry and you in your area, maybe let's say you have a creative, sewing school, but in all the other schools, creative schools in your area, they now have a website. Then you start, okay, how can I have a website too? You don't want to get left behind, right? So how do I get you? So you start observing trends. You start observing trends in the industry, and you always want to keep an eye out you always want to keep an eye on your competitors, right? You don't want to copy your competitors. Do not copy, but you want to keep an eye out, see what's going on in there so you too can keep up. And then you can also look at different things that your competitors have done wrong. They say, well, a wise man learns from the mistake of others. Right? So if they've done something wrong, then you learn from that quick so that you don't do the same. So let's say, for example, the trend is everybody's creating a website, and then you run and create a website, but then another company or your other competitors, they're not getting a lot of sales from the website. So then you start thinking about things differently. Then you're like, okay, how can I get my customers to order online? So you want to observe what's happening in the industry, but you want to not just imitate your competitors. You don't want to do that, right? So you want to lean on your core competence while you're doing your competitor analysis. You also want to learn what other organizations, other businesses, are doing. Again, you can review their sites. You can review different online sites for customer reviews and all of that. Right? So want to do a competitor analysis, industry analysis, keeping up with the latest trends. You want to do that, right? So the industry analysis is just going to help you understand your company's position relative to other companies in the same industry. So if you're in real estate and you're working for a particular company X, you want to know what are company A, B, C, D doing, right? What are they doing? It might be that they're successful. How are they able to have 100 investment, high net worth investors? What are they doing, right? What are they offering? Is it that the buildings that they're offering are different? What are they doing differently? And then you also, if you're into, maybe manufacturing and all of that, even if you have a creative industry or you buy and sell goods, you want to check the powers of your suppliers. You want to see what other substitute products are in the market and all of that. You want to have a good relationship with your suppliers. You want to check your customers and all. And just be able to review that. That's where your industry analysis is going to do. Just give you a good idea of your business in relation to other businesses in the same industry. Again, any questions, you can stop me. And a good part of your competitive edge, creating a competitive edge, is going to be increasing your brand awareness. Marketing, 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 marketing. The more people know about your company and the value you offer, the more they're likely to become. How are you marketing your product? What is your digital marketing like? What are your refer? Are you asking your current customers to refer you? Are you staying in touch with your current customers? Are you doing them survey? Are you asking them what you can do better or what they feel that you're doing very good? Are you creating value? Because if you're not talking to your customers, you're not going to know if you're creating value for them. How do you know? So you want to talk to them about that. You want to increase your brand awareness, meaning you want people to be aware of your brand, that you're there, right? Because you're competing. You're competing. So for example, if I go to China, for example, and they have different toothpaste on the shelf, right? They change out. I'm more than likely to pick one that I've heard of before. So, are any one of you there? We've all heard about Coke or Pepsi. If you go to some far away land and they have all these different type of sodas there or soft drinks there, and you've never seen any of them before, and then you see they have you looking everything like, what are these? What are these different things they have here? And then you see one Coke, you're more than likely going to pick that Coke. You're like, you know what? I know Coke. I'm sure of it. I'm going to try that because what you don't want to pick something that you don't know. Well, Coke and Pepsi, they have a brand awareness. It's not that those other things in the bucket are not going to be good, but you just know Coke. It's almost like you trust them. Okay. Any questions before we?
No, maybe I could say something on what you've said, that you branding and what people perception they have about your brand or product. I've had an opportunity, yes, that I went to pick a soft drink in one of the supermarkets, and initially I didn't know about Pepsi and the Seven Up.
Mm-hmm.
They were not in Kenya because I'm speaking from Kenya.
Okay.
I only knew about Coca-Cola,
Aha.
but I'd had people talk about Seven Up, then Pepsi. So
Yeah.
when I went there, I picked, because not that I knew how it would taste, but because I had people say. Then I said,
Right.
"I've been
Right.
taking Coca-Cola. So what about these Peps and Seven Up? What I mean Seven Up?" So I picked it, only to realize again sometime it tastes the same. It's only that the
Exactly.
branding was, yeah,
Right.
but it's because of the word of mouth. Because I
Right.
had a friend talk about. So you are
Right.
right when you're saying that you are likely to incline your picking depending on what you've had and all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's work to building brand awareness for our products, our business, our ideas, and all of that. We have to increase our brand awareness. Any other addition before we move on?
Yes, on the issue of the brand awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So he was talking about Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
Most consumers, they try to go for those products which have a good brand reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So there are those products which you cannot dispute their reputation. So when someone goes for that product, he gives much emphasis on that product which has been in the market for so long, but it
Right.
has retained a good brand reputation.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why. So when it comes to Coca-Cola, it's good in that with the soft drinks
Yes.
because it
Yes.
has a good brand reputation. It has
Yes.
been here. It has been there for several
Yes.
years.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the beautiful thing with it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
So
true.
that's the only thing which I wanted to add on.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks for that addition. And I think Coca-Cola is in the top brand, recognizable brand in the world. I think it's in the top 5. If it's not either 1 or 2, but I know if I remember what it's in the top 5. It's probably 3. I should say in the top 3. Coca-Cola is a recognizable brand in the world. But like you said, it's been around for so long, right? And they've maintained their value.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is among the it, it is among the 5 fortune companies.
Yeah.
Companies.
Aha.
500 fortune companies.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's good. Good point. Thank you for that addition. So we have about 10 more minutes of, so we'll do 10 minutes, then we'll take questions. So we'll just go through this a little bit fast. So just how to craft a solid business plan. And you want to take inventory of your current situation, meaning you want to know where you are. You want to develop a roadmap to get to where you want to go. So what are those different things you can use? You can use a SWOT analysis, you can use a gap analysis, or you can do scenario planning. But we're going to focus on the SWOT analysis. So for any strategy you create, you want to diagnose the situation. You want to make sure, okay, what am I creating this strategy for? Is it to increase sales? Okay, so you want to know, okay, go around the situation, ask questions. Why is sales not high? Just look at all those different things that are affecting it. And then that way you're going to be able to diagnose the situation appropriately, and you're able to create smart goals, right? You want to have an overall guiding policy, and then you want to design a coherent action. Remember, strategy without action is not a strategy, right? It has to have a action line assigned to it. So your SWOT analysis. SWOT is going to be your strength. I know we got SMART goals. Now we got SWOT analysis. Your strength, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? Your strength and your weaknesses, we talked about it already. What are those things that you're good at? And what are those things that you're not good at? What can you improve on? Your strength and weaknesses are going to be those things that are going to be internal to your business, right? Those things that you can or cannot control within your business. Right? Because if you have a weakness, well, somehow you can manage your strength and weaknesses. But your opportunities and threat, those are going to be external, right? Those are those things out of your business area. So the opportunities and threats are going to be the trends in your market. What are your, what's out there? What's new? Right? So for example, when COVID happened, everybody were that was a huge opportunity to be online. So that's an opportunity, right? And then another opportunity can be, for example, in the fitness industry, right? A lot of people say, oh, okay, I want to be healthy. I want to train. There's an opportunity there. So depending on what you're doing, you can find different opportunities in the world around you. And then, of course, we have threats also. Who are the new competitors entering your market space? What are they doing? What's happening in your environment, in your country, in Kenya? I think a few weeks ago, I don't know if they still have the protests going on. So if you have a store, will it be affected? Can different political things, can those things threaten, your business operations? So when you're assessing you're doing your strategy or planning, you want to do a SWOT analysis, right? So if you don't want to come up with a sales plan and then you have opportunities that you're overlooking, or you have threats that could affect your plan. So always do a SWOT and consider the strengths and weaknesses. Remember, those are going to be internal to your business. What your business can do or what your business don't have. So for some people, it can be that we don't have enough employees. For some people, it can be that we need funding. That can be a weakness. And then opportunities can be out there. So maybe, for example, there are a lot of opportunities now in the environmental space, like climate change and all of that. If you're in that space, you can take advantage of that. And then threats to your space. What are those different things that could affect your strategy? You want to look at that. So want to do a SWOT analysis. Remember, again, is your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And then your gap analysis, briefly, is just going to be, where are you now and where do you want to go? What is that gap in between? I'm at A and I want to be to F. What are those ones in between that I need something of? So how do you define that in between? So that bridge, how do you build that bridge there to get to where you want to go? Right? So that would be your gap. You finding that gap in between. How do I fill that gap? And then you want to do scenario planning. It's just different things that you want to look at and say, okay, I just want to consider, okay, if A, would then B there, or if C, what happens? If I do D, what could possibly happen? Right? You just ask different questions. If I change this, what will happen? And just develop a different range of ideas or different scenarios of things that could happen. And then you just plan around that. And then your action plan. Remember I said with strategy, you need an action plan, right? Don't just sit and create a strategy. That means you're just wishing. You're wishing upon a star. You're like, oh, la, la. you're just like, you have to have an action plan that says where you're going, your measurable goals, the task. You need that task. List the tasks to be performed. You need things. This is what I need to do. I need to do A, B, C, D. If I'm going to increase sales, I need to do marketing. I need to improve my digital marketing. I need to be active on social media. I need to be active on attending events. Then you want to divide big tasks into smaller ones that are more manageable. You want to have deadlines. You want to create it. That usually goes back to a vision board. I don't know how many of you have a vision board, but you can create a vision board, a visual representation of your action plan, and then you always want to track your actions often. What are you doing? How is it going? And always reviewing that. Okay, so we're at the summary, and then we can talk about take questions or anything before we're done. We just have a few minutes. So remember again, just for summary, business strategy is about planning and taking action. It's about recognizing, doing a lot of self-assessment, setting the right goals, smart goals. We want to focus on our customers, our products, our financials, and our operations. Have a vision. And then we talk about SWOT and gap and scenario, but we mainly can use SWOT analysis, which is going to be your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So your strengths and weaknesses are going to be internal, meaning it's about your business, and your opportunity and threats are going to be external, meaning it's about the industry and the environment that you operate in. We talk about your competitive edge, having your core competence, increasing your brand awareness, doing a competitor analysis, and then doing your industry analysis on there. So a strategy plan, it will position your business to go forward. Always you want to have that. So, okay, so I'll get out of here. Anybody, so we can have some questions and then we can round up. So questions?
Thank you so much, Elfrida. This has been, a whole book. You have summarized this in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It has been very brief. Members kindly ask questions, but before they ask, go first and ask. You said something about Kenya demonstrations. The ground is safer now.
Yeah.
But my question is, there is new legislations that happen in countries. How do you make sure that your strategy, your business strategy, always is adaptable to new legislations?
I think you have to be aware that those legislation are coming out. That's the first step. If you're not focusing on your industry and those legislation come out, then you're going to be left behind because you're going to be doing things the wrong way. So I think a key part of that is actually being aware of those legislations and knowing that they're there and then implementing accordingly. And sometimes if you're really in tune with your industry, you will know in advance that the legislation is coming out, right? Because the legislation don't just come out. They take time. You hear about them. There's it goes through processes and everything. So in that time, you're planning your business. How do I get around this? What would I need to put in place once this legislation come out that will enable my business to operate without being hindered by this new legislation? And if you're really into your industry and this legislation is coming out, maybe you're part of a community, you're part of maybe the Chamber of Commerce that you can go there and express your concerns and say, okay, this business, that this legislation that is coming out is going to affect us. So as a group, you alone, you might not be able to change anything, but as a group, if you're a member of a community of small businesses like yours, you can put together and say, okay, here's how you can maybe change this legislation so that it benefits this industry. So you become a voice in your industry, which helps increase your brand awareness.
So basically what you're saying is that to be a successful entrepreneur, you must be politically aware.
Yes. And that's part of being aware of your industry, right? We talk about the opportunities and threats. Those are external. That's part of that.
Thank you so much. Because you hear many people say, "I'm not interested in politics," and they want to do business.
Yes, you have to pick up politics, and some of the stuff we do where I work, we do a lot of advocacy and calling for, legislation that can create an enabling business environment, right? Because not whether or not you want to be part of politics, but it's going to affect your business, even in the to the tune that if there's issues, it affects your customer, and anything that affects your customer eventually is going to affect you. So you have to pay attention to that.
Wow.
Mhm.
You know, personally had prepared questions, and also as Sustainable Africa had prepared questions, but you have answered
Oh, yay.
beyond even the marking scheme we might have had.
Uh-huh.
So I want to thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Joma. Thank you for
This,
having me.
I know the silence of members or participants is one. They have understood and they were busy taking notes. That
Yes.
is my proof. And we shall measure this when next time we invite you
Hmm.
to tell you the number of the participants who have started businesses and
Yes.
those who have made increase in terms of return on investments. So I think that will be the actual indicator of achievement,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it will make you proud as a teacher.
Oh, yeah. I think
So
Endurance has his hand up.
yeah,
Yeah,
so thank you so
hello.
much. It seems there's somebody who want to speak.
Yeah, I want to just say something.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, first of all, I want to appreciate the you, especially the host and our presenter today.
Thank you.
And today is actually my first time of joining this event, and
Ah,
I learned a lot.
yeah,
And
definitely.
it will make you proud as a teacher.
Oh, yeah. I think
So
Endurance has his hand up.
yeah,
Yeah,
so thank you so
hello.
much. It seems there's somebody who want to speak.
Yeah, I want to just say something.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, first of all, I want to appreciate the you, especially the host and our presenter today.
Thank you.
And today is actually my first time of joining this event, and
Ah,
I learned a lot, honestly. But I will inquire. Can we can this meeting today can we have it in our mails so that one can keep running through some of the things because like I said, I'm into real estate, and it's a little kind of difficult because you meet a lot of different people, everything, and their approaches is kind of different when you want to stay put in your goals. Like, okay, this is what I want, like some specific things that you don't want to do, being the fact that sometimes being that some people, some client might need some apartment that you do not have, not because you can't source for it, but like I do standard properties, brand new and standard properties, but I also come across some people who actually need something that is not up to that standard. And in a way, I try to meander, source for other real estate rectors so that they can do that. But at the end of the day, is now bringing that sort of like, oh, some clients just come to you, oh, I think this is what you're supposed to give me. I think this, I don't know. In the first place, you see that my goal is not like this. So sometimes when you try to explain some of these things to them, first they feel that you your should I say your care or your concern about them is not the way they want it, or they feel that either you are too proud or you do not understand your own business. Sometimes, like yesterday, I was a little bit down when I came back from some inspections yesterday. I was like, come on, is this how it should be?
when I have this is what I want to do, will people not compromise it for me because I want to render services? You get so
Yeah.
some of these things. It's I'm still struggling with it. Okay, so I will really need maybe if possible, like what the highlights of what we run through today. If I can
Okay.
have it in my mail, then I just keep looking at it, and subsequently other events I keep because I really want to know more about how to deal effectively with people
Okay.
because no matter what, you can't run away from it. You get my
Right.
point. So
Okay.
that's just what I want to.
Okay. Well, thank you for that endurance. First, I would say I think when we started, the first quote that I read from Michael Porter, I said something about trade-offs, right? Trade-off is going, you have to give and take, right? And then when you get to marketing, the basic thing of marketing is you have to have a target. You have to have your target market. Everybody is not going to be your target market. You're not going to please everybody. So if you're able to build your brand awareness to I am this person and if is this what I do, then that's what you do. And then you have to have that type of control that says if you come, because I work with small businesses, right? I do research. My company at least, can I do individual consultancy work? Yes, I can. But for my company, this is what we do. So if you go and bring, say, oh, okay, we're doing this, we're doing that, I have to reject it, right? No matter how much money I feel is in there, I have to be like, with all due respect, this is not within our to do because this is what I want to be known for. We talk about Coke in the equity or the brand equity is created over the years because Coke is Coke. Coke is not trying to give us wine. It's not trying to give us in strong gin and all of that. Coke is Coke. That's what they do. If you want gin, if you want wine, you have to go to Hennessy, you have to go to all those people. And then if even we look at our top of the lines, if we say Mercedes-Benz, Mercedes-Benz is Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz is not trying. So if you go to Mercedes-Benz, oh, I want a cheap car, they'll probably send you to Honda or Kia or somewhere.
Yes.
This is what they are. So you have to create your own niche and create this is what you do. And then you will start attracting those people who want what you do while you are saying no to those people who you cannot help them. But you will
Yes.
struggle if you try to help everybody because you can't.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. All right, what you're saying. It's about the demand, what the market is needed, what the people needs, the people's choice, and the market's brand is also an important issue.
Right.
What I wanted to say is before starting a business for the newcomers, I mean, it's very important that all the facts, what you have shown us today in the slides, that the people have to know that very exactly and learn that before beginning and starting with their own business. Because in a lot of there's a very high numbers of people who start with a business and with some time they fail. They are not very successful at the beginning and later they only lose money. And
Right.
before this pity thing happens, it's very important to knowing all the business rules and all the business strategies and the planning and all, whatever all the criteria for a right business very exactly, and
Right.
knowing that and then beginning with the business, because not everybody has the talent of making a good business. Sometimes the people are nice but they are not so talented enough, and for those it's better to have the Monday to Friday job with a payment like in the different firms or in the at school as a teacher or in the post office or in the different firms, because for those is better not making any business because they will fail. They haven't this good or effort of making a good business. And for only for not everyone, but I think maybe in 10 people one is very good at making business and 9 will fail or will not have this high result this the one can bring. And if you are new and you wanted to do business, first learn all the case, first try, maybe you go to somebody who is doing a business and learn there for some weeks, months, how is doing it and so on, have some job experience here by these people who are doing the business, so and then start with their own business.
Okay. That's a good
I
point.
think it's a better experience, a better
Yeah.
better how to say it, advice. Yes, I mean a better advice before starting your business, running it and failing and having a lot of loose and high amount of money as debts. Before making debts, it's better to know it, and maybe 1 year later or 2 years later or sometime later, for 10 years later, 20 years later, but not making any debts,
Okay.
being
Sure.
successful as making the business.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
good. That's she spread it by saying that do research, do market research before you get in, and you can get that research through sitting with someone, asking around, talking to people, but
Mm,
research the market.
yes, yes,
Yeah, very
absolutely.
good point. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you. You're
Well,
Jim.
welcome.
Freedom. Sharif,
Uh,
you've given it,
ma-
you're excellent, and I want to thank you so much. Christian, you have a concern? Go
yeah,
ahead. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
that's I had something small, eh? I had
Okay.
something small to add on because you asked about the new legislations brought by the government, eh? So I wanted to help Kevin, but it is a supplement, eh? For you to understand the SWOT, eh? The SWOT analysis, that is the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Eh? The strength, the first two factors, the strength and weaknesses, eh? You have control over them. You as a person in your organization, but opportunities and threats, you don't have control over them as an organization, but they are just external. So the first two ones, strength and weaknesses, they're internal in your organization, and it's you who faces them. Then the opportunities and threats, a company is able to face them, but it has no control over them. So the case which you have brought in, the one for the new legislation, it is a threat to the company. But how do you make sure that that threat it is minimized? It is through compliance. So when you get to know that the government is trying to come out with an amendment of a new legislation that will affect your operations as a business or as an organization, you have also to be flexible enough to make sure that you try to devise mechanism how you will make sure that you will operate within that same law which will be amended. So the only thing which I want to do to make it easier for you to get to know these things, that strength and weakness, you have control over them as an organization. But opportunities and threats, you don't have control over them as an organization. They are external factors, whereas strength and weaknesses, they are internal factors. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. You can't add anything because you've just put it clear. And at this juncture, I want to take this opportunity to thank our expert speaker today, Elfrida Sharif.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for creating time. We know that you have a very busy schedule. The same goes to our participants who have always participated in this forum. But the most important I want us to take home is that it is not a wishful thinking. Let us work out on these skills and experiences that we learn. And I would urge members that we follow each other, especially our speaker today. She has shared her contacts so that that is how mentorship begins. She can mentor you, and you can always um, get to learn. And we promise that Elfrida will keep you in touch. We'll always come to you when we need your insights on these matters. I would also want to say that um, we appreciate the your time, members here, and we encourage you to join us in the next episode that we'll have in, next week about financing your business. Today, Elfrida has told us exactly how to start and how to establish a business. Now, next week, it will be about financing your business. And I will also request Elfrida, if you have time, just join us and again give
I
us,
will.
because yeah, join and now tell us where will we get money to jumpstart the business. So I
Okay.
want to thank you so much.
Thank you so
Uh,
much for having me. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. It was a great session. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you so much. Welcome again, members. Always, when we share this information, share with your contacts. Let us be more. Let us learn. When we learn many, it is easier to exchange information whenever we forget or whenever we get some gaps. So, in next session, let us promise that each member will come with 3 or 4 members. So that way we can remind each other when we forget.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
I wish you well. Have a very beautiful Saturday. Until we meet again, on behalf of our programs director, Abubakar Baba, who is in class, we want to wish you well and we want to appreciate you as a Sustainable Africa team. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Yes, Endurance, before we close, you said that whether we can share this through emails. Yes, we will share. And also you can visit our Twitter handles, social media handles, including YouTube. Actually, you'll get all the discussions YouTube. And of course, we will share into your email if we have your email. Thank you.
Oh, that would be nice. Thank you so much. I really appreciate.
Thank you. Welcome.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. Obure, have you just joined? John?
Sorry, did you call me?
Yes. Have you just joined or you are with us?
I was definitely with you, but then I just had a call and then I just went outside. I heard my name and I
Oh,
ran back.
I thought you have just come when we have finished the
No,
entire
really, I have been
day.
here. I have been listening to Nasiru. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So next week, I'm hoping to see you your full presence here. Otherwise,
Sure.
have a blessed Saturday.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.